Hello, and welcome to the Designing with Love podcast. I am your host, Jackie Pellegrin, where my goal is to bring you information, tips, and tricks as an instructional designer. Hello, instructional designers and educators. Welcome to episode 79 of the Designing with Love podcast. Today, we're unpacking 5 emerging technologies shaping how we design learning, including what they are, when to use them, starter ideas you can use in your projects, and what to watch out for so you don't overbuild or overspend. So grab your notebook, a cup of coffee, and settle in as we explore this topic together. To kick us off, let's start with the learning spaces themselves. Module 1, Spatial Computing. When I say spatial computing, I'm talking about 3 tools: virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality, often shortened to VR, AR, and MR. Let's take a few moments to review the differences between each one. Virtual reality, VR, places learners inside a fully digital environment. Augmented reality, AR, overlays digital information onto the real world through a phone, tablet, or glasses. Mixed reality, MR, anchors digital objects into the physical space so learners can interact with them as if they're really there. Here's some best fit use cases: skills practice, complex systems, labs, empathy building scenarios, and site tours. Here's some ideas for a starter activity: a micro sim lab. Here you can introduce a 5-minute walkthrough with 3 decision points. An AR object study. Here you can place a 3D model in the room, then let learners annotate 3 features and record a 60-second reflection. Here's some design tips: script for actions, not lectures. Keep segments under 7 minutes and add a quick debrief related to the objectives. Here's some key considerations: motion comfort and breaks, offer non-headset alternatives, plan device checkout and cleaning, and a 1-minute calibration. Great, so we've explored immersive spaces. Now let's meet the helpers that speed up design and coaching. Module 2, Generative Artificial Intelligence Co-Pilots and Teaching Agents. By generative artificial intelligence, I mean tools that help draft, summarize, quiz, coach, or role-play, always with our human judgment in the loop. Here's some best fit use cases: first draft storyboards, scenario seeds, quiz item banks, tutoring hints aligned to your rubric, and translation and reading level adjustments. Here's some ideas for a starter activity: a course co-pilot. Here you can add frequently asked questions as a helper that gives rubric-aligned hints and links to your sources. A rapid prototype. Here you can ask for 3 scenario shells and human edit 1 into a final draft. Here's some design tips: lock learning objectives before your prompt, require sources or citations in outputs, and publish a simple AI use slide for learners. Here's some key considerations: accuracy, which refers to hallucinations, privacy, bias, and over-automation. State what AI can and can't do, and how you'll review it. Those activities create a trail of learning actions. The next step is making the data useful. Module 3, Learning Analytics and Experience API Data Trails. This is about measuring meaningful actions, not just completed, and sending them to a learning record store. Experience API, known as xAPI, lets you capture rich events such as video scrubs, simulation retries, and hint usage across tools and store them in a learning record store, known as LRS. Not only your learning management system, known as the LMS. Here's some best fit use cases: finding struggle points, measuring practice quality, improving simulations, and correlating behaviors with outcomes. Here's some ideas for a starter activity: an action map. Pick 5 key actions such as attempted critical step, emit xAPI to a learning record store, and review weekly. A nudge loop. Trigger a just-in-time support message after 3 failed attempts. Here's some design tips. Start with one evaluation question: where do learners stall? Instrument only those events and plan a 10-minute review cadence. Here's some key considerations. Data privacy and retention policies. Make sure to keep dashboards simple to avoid analysis paralysis. Once we can see where learners struggle or succeed, we can respond in real time. Module 4, Adaptive Learning and Personalization. Adaptive learning adjusts the path, difficulty, or supports in real time based on what the learner just did. Here are some best fit use cases. Mastery-based courses, compliance refreshers, and large cohorts with varied prior knowledge. Here's some ideas for a starter activity. 2-lane pathing. Here you can add a pre-assessment that routes learners to a refresh or stretch track with different practice sets. Hit scaffolds. Unlock just-in-time cues after specific error patterns. Here's some design tips. Build strong practice item banks per objective. Define mastery rules and explain the logic to learners so it feels fair. Here's some key considerations. Transparency, which is why a path was chosen, avoiding over-fragmented routes, and offering a manual override when needed. With the pathways in place, let's bring it together in a safe, practice-first environment. Module 5, Immersive Simulations and Virtual Labs. Think branching conversations and hands-on labs where learners can safely try, fail, and try again. Here's some best fit use cases. Safety procedures, leadership conversations, customer service, lab techniques, and gray area compliance. Here's some ideas for a starter activity. 3-fork scenario. Here you can introduce a 5-minute dialogue with 3 decision forks and a short debrief checklist. Virtual lab sprint. Here you can introduce 1 critical procedure with a timed critical step moment and immediate feedback. Here's some design tips. Write outcomes first, then storyboard choices, and include a 2-minute micro-reflection to cement transfer. Here's some key considerations. Scope control. Cap unique screens, reuse media or assets across modules, and pilot with a small group first. Before you choose a tool, here's a fast way to structure a lesson that uses any one of these technologies. Quick build. 60-minute lesson recipe plug and play. Your hook, which is 5 minutes. A short story or statistic plus clear outcomes. Teach, which is 10 minutes. 1 visual that explains the core idea. Experience, which is 15 minutes. Choose 1. Short VR or AR moment, a 3-fork scenario, or an adaptive quiz book. Debrief, which is 10 minutes. 3 reflection prompts tied to the objectives. Assess, which is 15 minutes. Performance tasks plus rubric. Then log key actions with Experience API. Before you hit record on your pilot, let's decide how you'll know it worked, simply and clearly. Metrics that matter. Why, what, and how. Quick context. These aren't vanity numbers. Metrics answer one question. Did this help learners do the thing we care about? We'll pick 1 outcome, 1 behavior signal, and 1 follow-up check. Start with 1 outcome question and make sure to pick 1. Did learners perform the target skill correctly? Did struggling learners reach mastery with less friction? Did the new approach save time without lowering quality? Then you'll want to match the question to a simple metric trio. Outcome metric, the skill result you care about, such as a pass or fail on a performance task. Behavior signal, a leading indicator that moves first, such as time to first success. And then finally, the follow-up check, a light pulse a week later, such as a 3-question microquiz or manager checklist. Then you're going to move into concrete examples by technology. Make sure to choose 1 set. Set 1, spatial computing, VR, AR, or MR. What's the outcome? Percentage of learners completing the 5-step procedure without critical error. What's the behavior? Time to first success in the sim and number of retries. Follow-up, 1 item motion comfort check and 3-question refresher next week. Set 2, generative AI copilots and teaching agents. What's the outcome? Rubric score improvement on the final artifact. What's the behavior? Edit distance from AI draft to final. How much human revision was needed? Follow-up. Source citation rate. AI outputs with citation learners actually verified. Set 3. Learning analytics and experience API. What's the outcome? Percentage of learners clearing the previously stuck step. What's the behavior? Average attempts before success and hint usage rate. Follow-up. Targeted nudge recipients versus non-recipients. Who succeeded in the next attempt? Set 4. Adaptive learning and personalization. What's the outcome? Mastery rate after rerouting, which is known as a refresh versus stretch. What's the behavior? Path accuracy. Did the system send the right learners to the right path? And then the follow-up. Manual override usage. How often learners or instructors change the path? Set 5. Immersive simulations and virtual labs. What's the outcome? Correct decision rate on the second attempt, which signals evidence of learning, not guessing. What's the behavior? Critical error frequency and debrief reflection completion rate. Follow-up. 1-week transfer check, which could be a mini scenario or observation checklist. How to capture it. Keep it light. Use your LMS quiz or task scores and attempt data. If instrumented, send key events with Experience API to a learning record store. Add a single item survey such as comfort, confidence, or usefulness at the end of the pilot. Cadence and storytelling. Schedule a 10-minute weekly review. Look at 3 numbers, pick one, tweak, and ship. Create a 1-slide pilot card. Objective, change result, then the next step. Share wins with learners because transparency builds buy-in. Here's some key considerations. Respect privacy. No public comparisons between individuals, which is key here. Avoid tiny sample overclaims and keep dashboards simple. 1 page is plenty. If you publish externally, spell out key performance indicators, known as KPIs, on first use. With a simple way to measure impact in place, let's turn one idea into a tiny pilot you can ship this month. Here's your call to action. Pick one technology from today and run a tiny pilot in the next 2 weeks. Keep it small, clear, and measurable. Here's some ideas you can choose from. 3-fork conversation scenario, which is the immersive simulation. 5 minutes, 3 decision forks, and a quick debrief. AR object study, which is spatial computing. 1 3D model, 3 annotations, and a 60-second reflection. Course Copilot or FAQs, which is generative AI. A short, rubric-aligned helper for common questions. Here's your quick checklist. Objective. 1 sentence. What skill or behavior are we improving? Plan. Who is in the pilot and when will it run? Measure. 1 outcome, 1 behavior signal, and 1 follow-up check. Debrief. 2 questions. What worked and what will we tweak? And then finally document. Fill in the pilot card and save version 1.0. You've got your idea and a simple way to track it. Let's land the plane. Emerging technology shines when it makes learning clearer, safer, or faster, not when it's just shiny. Start small, learn fast, and keep the focus on what your learners need to do. I'll link 4 helpful references in the show notes and the companion blog post. First is the EDUCAUSE Horizon Report, Teaching and Learning Edition for trend context. Next is UNISECO's guidance on AI in education for ethics and classroom guardrails. The third one is the xAPI overview for an explanation about the ecosystem. And finally, a short spatial computing and education guide for VR, AR, and MR setups. In addition, I've included a 1-page pilot card, which is a Canva template link in the show notes and the companion blog post. Open it, click Use Template, and make it your own. As I conclude today's episode, I would like to share an inspiring quote from Alan Kay, a pioneer of modern computing. The best way to predict the future is to invent it. Rather than predict what VR, AR, MR, AI, or xAPI will do for us, we build a tiny pilot and learn. We invent our future by prototyping, measuring, and iterating. one focused step at a time. Thank you for taking some time to listen to this podcast episode today. Your support means the world to me. If you'd like to help keep the podcast going, you can share it with a friend or colleague, leave a heartfelt review, or offer a monetary contribution. Every act of support, big or small, makes a difference, and I'm truly thankful for you.